Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Full vaccination against COVID-19 is a requirement for non-immigrants to travel to the United States. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 4th October 2021. Details when we return.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. As of October 1st, 2021, there will be new vaccination requirements for anyone immigrating to the United States. The full requirements of non-immigrant travel, however, have not yet been released, but the mandate of some form of COVID vaccination is certain. Cindy Dorff, Consular Chief at the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain, shared more information on TV6's Morning Edition.
If you're thinking of immigrating to the U.S., you're going to have to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19, in addition to the regular regime of vaccines.
So that begins, I believe tomorrow is actually October. And so those individuals who are hoping to immigrate to the United States will need to show proof of full vaccination. And as with any other immigrant visa, there is a visit to what we call the panel physician. And at that time, the panel physician will assure that other vaccines are up to date as well.
And while there was talk on the ground that certain brands of COVID vaccine would not be accepted for entry into the U.S., the consular chief gives an assurance that all World Health Organization approved brands, which are the only brands being administered in TNT, will make the cut. However, Ms. Dioff says the vaccine requirements for persons traveling to the U.S. on non-immigrant visas have not yet been finalized, but persons should take whatever vaccine is available. As it stands, persons not vaccinated against COVID-19 can still travel to the U.S., but beginning November 2021, all adult foreign nationals traveling to the United States will be required to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19 with limited exceptions. Meantime, the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain continues to process visa applications. But due to COVID restrictions, they're asking that persons seeking visas utilize the interview waiver option.
You need to be under the age of 14, over the age of 79, or be renewing that visa. And one thing that we are noticing that I'd just like to highlight for everyone is we're getting a lot of 16, 17-year-olds who are sending in their passports for renewal. Well, the timeline is going to be 3 weeks for us to take action on that. And if you're 16 or 17, you probably aren't going to qualify for interview waiver, because once you reach the age of 14, we need to have you come in for an actual interview. So please read all of the instructions that are on our website. We're processing, up to 1,000 or more visas for tourists a month, and we're doing that through our interview waiver process. So please read all the rules and regulations. And if you do have an emergency, follow the guidelines on our website and we will get you in.
Renessa Cutting, TV6 News.
Over in Barbados, supermarket boss issues reminder to unvaccinated workers, 2 of whom can face termination if they do not vaccinate by the deadline given. More in this Barbados Today report with Emmanuel Joseph.
Ashby revealed that of the 98 workers employed by the businesses, only 2 had not complied with his instructions.
From July, I gave letters. August, I reminded. September, I reminded. And this is the date that was set, 30th September, all the way back from in July. Get vaccinated or else you don't come to work.
In seeking to justify his decision to require workers to be immunized or be sent home, Ashby contended that he has a duty to secure the safety of his staff.
I have to secure all the assets in here safe. The only way we can do is to have some kind of protection. Not 100%, but at least 50% protection. You know?
Right. So this is
so all the school children that is home sitting down because these people will not go and get vaccinated. They got them home sitting down. They have a mind for their children that they're gonna their country's children is at home, can't go to school because they won't go and get vaccinated. You think that's right?
Chief Executive Officer of the Hill Milling Company Limited and Lionel C. Hill Supermarket, Richard Ashby. I'm Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
Guyana gets set to receive an additional 100,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine to help it fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Gordon Mosley of News Source Guyana has some details.
Guyana received over 140,000 doses of the vaccine from the U.S. government last month, and it's currently being used to vaccinate children between the ages of 12 and 17 years old. The vaccines that will arrive next week will be added to the other vaccines currently being used to vaccinate adults. According to the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, the government's plan is to still get more persons vaccinated so that the country could reach herd immunity and be more protected against COVID-19.
And we have 192,672 persons who would have received a second dose vaccine. So we now move up to 37.6% of our adult population receiving both doses of the vaccine. And overall, we have given 24,194 doses of the Pfizer vaccine to children. That takes us up to 33.2% of that age cohort.
The health ministry is closely monitoring the rising cases in a number of hotspot areas, especially in regions 3 and 4. Meanwhile, the number of new cases of the virus continues to climb. Another 189 new cases were recorded yesterday, with 3 additional deaths recorded overnight. All 3 persons were unvaccinated, according to the Ministry of Health.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Do you or anyone you know have heart disease? If so, there is a clarion call for you to get vaccinated against COVID-19. The encouragement is coming from President of the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Dr. Georgette Meade, as Antigua and Barbuda joins in marketing World Heart Day. Shanakisha Francis of ABS News reports.
President of the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Dr. Georgette Meade, is encouraging people with cardiovascular disease to get vaccinated as they are at increased risk of being severely affected by the infection.
To all patients with cardiovascular disease or other medical illnesses, the risk of death is higher in patients with cardiovascular disease. And so we're encouraging strongly to get vaccinated.
However, she advises patients to speak with their doctor before getting the jab. She further explains the importance of getting vaccinated.
60% of patients with severe COVID-19 infection develop heart disease. And so at all costs, we want to prevent COVID-19 infection. And so we practice all the protocols. We are placing all efforts to educate about prevention. That's the first step to try and prevent getting these conditions, because once they happen, they are usually progressive conditions and leading to death in the long term.
The most recent PAHO update showed 36% of deaths were due to heart disease in Antigua and Barbuda. Reporting for ABS News, I am Shanakisha Francis.
Principal of the University of the West Indies Five Islands, Professor Denzel A. Williams, says the campus's growth over its first 2 years has been extraordinary. This month marks 2 years since the campus enrolled its first students. Here is Jamie J. Roger of ABS News.
UE5 Islands is the Caribbean University's newest landed campus. It welcomed its first students September 2019. 2 years on, Pro-Vice Chancellor and Principal Professor Denzel A. Williams reports remarkable progress.
If I were to give you one word, and I hope that your headlines will pick up this one word, it's extraordinary.
Professor Williams became the campus principal at the start of the 2020-2021 academic year. He thanks the Antigua and Barbuda government and people for giving UE the infrastructure, which he says is a better facility than what the other UE campuses had when they launched.
However, when we started with this infrastructure, there was literally nothing. Nothing besides an interim director of administration, an interim director of academics, and an interim principal. And within that year, we were able to have about 178 students in 2019. Today, we are now boasting almost 500 students.
Professor Williams says this academic year's enrollment is 61% above last year's matriculation. He says it's remarkable since the pandemic has caused financial uncertainty for many people. He adds this shows a lot is happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, the principal says they've upgraded the campus's physical landscape and built up its academic capacity.
We started off with literally 0 academic staff. And now we are at about 15 full-time academic staff at the highest caliber in their thing. We have people coming from Central Bank, people coming from different universities across the globe as far as Europe who have joined our staff. They're building up their capacity, they're building up their research, and they're building up their connections. We have also acquired significant grant funding.
Professor Williams says the campus has also attracted many scholarship investments for students and brought knowledge to the community through its public advocacy series. UE5 Islands recently added a School of Science, Artificial Intelligence and Computing and will soon launch its lifelong learning unit. Jamie J. Roche, ABS News.
Time is of the essence, suggests High Court Judge Nadia Kangalu, as she aims to resolve the interpretation matter in the process of appointing Gary Griffith to act as police commissioner on the eve of expiration of McDonald Jacobs' acting stint. Urvashitawari Rupnarayan of TV6 News reports.
High Court Judge Justice Nadia Kangalu is aiming to have the interpretation matter surrounding the appointment of Gary Griffith as acting Commissioner of Police settled by October 14th, the day before the appointment of current acting Commissioner McDonald Jacob expires. As such, the judge imposed on Friday strict deadlines on the attorneys to have full written submissions filed and served in a timely manner. The court is seeking to determine whether the Police Service Commission acted in accordance with the Constitution when it chose to appoint Gary Griffith to the position the day after his 3-year term as Police Commissioner expired on August 17th. The matter is to be recalled at 10 a.m. on August 11th for brief oral submissions, with Justice Kangalu's ruling expected by 1:30 p.m. on October 14th. The lawsuit brought by social activist Ravi Balgobin Maraj claims that due process was not followed in appointing Griffith as acting Commissioner of Police. Maraj's attorney, Senior Counsel Anand Ram Logan, told the court the Police Service Commission should no longer be allowed to participate as an interested party because it no longer exists. This follows the resignation of all members of the commission. In response, lead counsel for the commission, Russell Martineau, Senior Counsel, pointed out he